on the dial. I'm just going through insomnia again. And usually it's triggered by stress and trauma, drama, and through the same cycle of certain issues that just don't make sense. And usually, when things don't make sense, they're not true. And I am checking in to see where all my insomniacs are, if there's any left out there. Excuse me. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one on the face of the planet who can't seem to get a full, like, 6 to 8 hours in, go, especially when you're going through stuff. So, where are all my insomniacs at? Check in. That thumbs up. See if you up with me. It's only midnight here, little after midnight here, Eastern Standard Time. But it's really difficult to rest when your heart and mind are in so many different places. And I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but I am really I'm sick of it because it's a few things that really irritate me about having insomnia. You know, I've been battling PTSD for quite a while, and I never really discuss it too much because I feel like that's kind of like claiming an issue that doesn't belong to me. I kind of inherited it through daily. Over the years, you begin to conquer certain things that otherwise you would still be fearful of or hesitant of. Like me, conflict and confrontation, I hate it. I hate confronting and approaching certain things that are tough, that are, sensitive. It makes me a ball of nerves and I can't think or really articulate clearly. Um, I practice a lot, because I read a lot, and um, I have the gift of gab because of just, you know, certain things that I have had to do to make a living. You have to have good communication skills and things like that. So a lot of people tell me that, you know, I'm quick witted and things like that, but it's just from exercising that muscle all the time, having to be verbal a lot. And when I don't have a human sounding board, I come to social media to share some things because I want a lot of people to know that, you know, there are others out there that they can relate to help, give some consolation. Because I know, like I said, sometimes I feel like I am the only motherfucker going through shit that's just surreal to me. And encountering certain types of people who create certain types of situations, sometimes it just really fucks with me. I'm like, what the hell would you think to do some shit like that for? Why? You know? And of course, I'll never get the answer to that why because it's just like a rhetorical, like, what the fuck? And I've been accused of, stuff that I'm like, what? What the hell? You know? And that adds to the stress and the can't really think and focus piece, where you have a balance between your emotions, you know, it's hard, it's difficult. And sometimes it's hard, like now, it's hard to put it into words really and describe it where I feel. But this is for all the insomniacs, you know. If you up with me, I see one thumbs up. So at least one person took a peek. But yeah, I can't sleep. And I'm sitting here looking at this beautiful new moon. It's gorgeous. And I'm just trying to absorb some of her healing energy because I have seen some shit these past few months. And been, but have encountered some I am trying to recharge myself because my soul is tired, very tired. And I feel like I have been through a war, really. And well, wherever y'all put them, like I was my man, the battlefield. And I'm still grateful though, because as I said in my previous stream, I had a guardian angel by my side for a lot of this last stretch of surviving Florence. So I, at the risk of sounding like I'm complaining, you know, it could have been a whole lot worse. And I'm so thankful for what I did have and who I had with me. And being reunited with my sons, people come into my cipher who want to be a blessing, want to be of assistance. It's a beautiful feeling, and that's why I'm so frustrated because um, I do see things turning around, and I'm grateful for it, and I should be able to sleep a little bit because of it. But you know, when you have someone taking care of you and you're used to taking care of yourself, that creates a lot of anxiety too. And then when that person is drained, just as drained, if not more than you, there is a weight that you carry, knowing that this person depleted their energy and their time and just their overall well being at stake for you, in this case, me. It's very uncomfortable, you know? It's like I can't reciprocate right now. I can't give back the energy and the time and the money and the worry and the stress. I can't do anything about it right now. And that is a big part of my insomnia also. So, specifically, that's what's really eating away at me right now. And I've always been one to conquer a lot. And over the past couple years, I have been very helpless to my own situation and helpless to be able to, uh, as far as you know, and compensation for a person's investment of themselves, their spirit, not just their resources, but just energy. Energy is more valuable than anything that you can purchase. And you can't get back time. You can't pay that back. You can't refund that. You can't refund the energy that someone invests in you because it's to build, you know. And that's the best I can do right now is continue to build and continue to push on forward and continue to be open and continue to work on the things that need to be adjusted so that, the new foundation that I'm building will be permanent this time and won't get warm. I'm sorry, y'all. The signal is really bad. So, so that doesn't keep dropping in the parking lot. But yeah, investing, time and effort is very precious, and it's rare for me to have someone do that, you know, and especially for an extended period of time. It's always an ulterior motive from the people that I have had past connections with. It's always for a gain, something. What can I get out of this? This time was very, very different. It was just free love, and love is a verb. You have to do it. You can't just talk about it. And when you can't perform the reciprocation that you desire, it fucks with you. At least for me, that's how I'm built. Because I had such a loveless journey coming into my womanhood. I was a target a lot. A target of resentment, a target of anger, bitterness, and stuff for a very long time, and I didn't understand how to choose certain connections properly. And I would place myself in very dysfunctional, loveless situations. And as I began to grow and heal and get older and start to pay more attention to myself, that I was making, and how I would evaluate things, how I would uh, analyze situations, good choices and decisions, it started to really resonate, love. Love is like the gateway to a lot of positive things, a lot of positive opportunities, a lot of positive interactions when you display, you know, that energy of love and peace and harmony and balance. And a lot of people are skeptics of it too. A lot of people look at me and, see how I move, and they don't trust it because it's very new, something very different, unusual to meet someone, on the same similar frequency coming from a place of love. And, that's something that my grandmother always would talk to me about is you want to love. You always want to show love. You always want to be the love that you want to see. You always want to come from a place of love and positivity, and embrace even people with their flaws, even if they're angry, bitter, disgusted, frustrated, nasty. You want to try to always come from a place of love because you might be the only person that they come in contact with that can show them love in that moment. So that's what I work on that, a lot. And I'm not always good at it, and I'm damn sure not perfect. But that is part of my insomnia too, is that helpless feeling that you have, when you can't reciprocate that love effectively to where it will give that other person or people assurance that you have their best interest and you have appreciation for the love that they've given you. So it is really hard to take care of business when you don't get any sleep. Insomnia is a bitch, you know? And when you're used to certain energies around you, and then they're removed abruptly, that adds to the anxiety and triggers the insomnia to last longer. And I was very fortunate last night to be able to sleep a couple hours and wake up, sleep a couple hours more and wake up, so I could function, but not really effectively. And I worked my fucking ass off again for scraps, and I feel like I should have a couple racks in my pocket the way that I feel. But the reality is, I don't have shit to show for the hard work I'm putting in. So I'm making some changes on that right now, too. And that's another addition to, the agitation creating insomnia. It's really fucked up. And I normally, I haven't talked like this on this channel before. I came from a place of militancy and kind of like in your face type shit. And yeah, she's still in there, you know. However, right now I'm trying to decompress from a lot of shit, and until you live through it, god damn it, you'll never get it. It's like a natural disaster when you see your environment intact, and within a matter of hours and day, like just one day, everything you knew to be as it is gone. Like it's fucked up. It's devastation and damage everywhere. That's traumatizing to the psyche and the ego and your emotions, all that. And two times in a row, like I can't even highlight that enough. It's really, really disarming. It's very, very uh, traumatizing. That's the most fitting term that I can think of, is traumatizing, because I'm a Midwest girl, and I'm a twister girl. So I seen tornadoes and stuff like that rip shit to shreds. I've sat on the side of the road and watched one pass right by me and didn't touch us, but on the opposite side of the road, the highway, it just destroyed anything in its path, you know. And that was a once in a lifetime thing. Thank great spirit I never had to see that shit again, because I was scared in a motherfucker. And I really thought we were going to perish in that tornado. However, a hurricane, I don't know. Excuse me, it's no match to me for, I don't know. It's Mother Nature is just magnificent. She does whatever the fuck she wants to do, and there's nothing we can do about it but hold on when she comes in her wrath, I should say. And I have a pretty strong constitution normally, but with everything else underneath the layers of this hurricane, there's layers and layers of other shit that you know took me for a loop de loop. And processing all that is catching up to me now, because during the storm, when I was in the FEMA shelter, I believe I was still in shock for most of it, and I stayed high through a lot of it. I didn't fuck around. I medicated the fuck out of it. Yes, I did. Because I know me, and I know my temper, I know my attitude, I know how vicious I can be when I'm under a lot of stress and I'm trying to figure shit out on the fly. So I stayed medicated with some fire ass weed, and a lot of it was supplied by my guardian angel. So I'm grateful for that too, because it cushioned the blow. along with having him by my side and being there to watch over me and try to just keep my head together with that so I don't freak the fuck out. Because my freakouts are like more violent than they are emotional. And when I cry, it's because I'm pissed off. You know what I'm saying? When you see tears streaming down and nonstop waterworks, I am pissed. And there is no telling what might happen if I don't chill. So I'm just really processing everything now. It's all kind of catching up to me, and the insomnia ain't helping none. And the frustration level is high within me. And I'm just trying to really just take it one day at a time and stay vigilant on top of these so called social service agencies. Another thing that disturbed me is how, the accountability of some of these agencies really sucks donkey's ass because since November, I've been working with one in particular. And from the time we left the shelter up until after the new year, we heard like nothing, next to nothing from these case management representatives. Excuse me. So recently, I expressed my frustrations to um, the department heading up the housing program that's supposed to be helping us. And per usual, like most Southern white women do, they deny anything they do and throw the hot potato back on the person that's complaining. And a video I did on Facebook was, why are we as black people always forced to beg for help, especially in situations like this, like a natural disaster? They did it to us in Katrina. Anything that went down, anything that we could not prevent and practice preventative measures for ourselves, we were at the mercy of, you know, the ancestor. My frustration, my anxiety, and my stress level, because we have done our very best due diligence to follow up and stay on top of things, live, try to survive, and keep, just keep life flowing through our body. Just living day to day. That's that's a real fucked up way to live. Just surviving. Just barely making it by. Because the government can't think past this motherfucking wall that they try to build. It just makes me want to throw up. And when I express my concerns and my frustrations, just like a typical white bitch, she went and played victim and then played stupid and tried to throw the hot potato back on me. So I'm just up to here with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of hearing the same fucking square dance over and over again, and then giving another number to call and follow up with, and then another one and another one and another one. So that's why I'm doing this Insomniacs video, because I want to share with people what it is like to process going through a natural disaster, for those who don't know, who's never been through it. If you do know, then, you know, chime in, add a comment or whatever if you so choose to. But this is for people, on social media wasting time, you know. Who was that? Is that Madame Whoop Ass talking to me? What happened? Hit me. Make another comment, please. I missed it. My signal really sucks out here. But I think it said, "Oh my God, where have you been?" I've been in a motherfucking FEMA shelter for 3 months. And then as of November, we were spending their money on a 7-day brand new girl trying to maintain. That's all I've been doing. Oh, mamacita. I haven't been hiding. I've been just out of commission, mommy. I have not had shit. I don't have shit. I lost everything in Florence. And here we are from November 2018 up until today. The government still ain't did shit about all us colored folks down here still floundering around waiting on them to come through. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. Yeah, I haven't been on here in a minute. I haven't been on here in a good minute, and for good reason. Because it's been rough trying to hold it down and take care of business without anything. So thank you for peeking in though on me, because I kind of missed the YouTube community a little bit, and I'm just not up for no bullshit though. You know, the trolling and the fucked up fucking that's been going on probably still is. I really haven't been paying no attention to it. I've been trying to uh, just maintain. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened, but I'm not really paying attention to what happened. I'm trying to pay attention to me now. You know, I've given YouTube a lot from 2009 up until like last year before Florence. I gave a lot of my free to social media, and you know, it didn't pan out for shit. It's not worth shit, you know, and people don't give a fuck about you if you can't give them something for free or they can't get something out of it. So I've been just focusing on me lately and trying to maintain and find some stable footing so that I am permanently planted and rooted again. Florence was a bitch. And I'll say that to the day I die. Florence was a motherfucker. And for those of you that it didn't touch, you very blessed. Very blessed. So count your blessings that you didn't have to go through what we did. And then on top of that, if you are not in an area where services are little to nothing, count your blessings too. Because this is a Confederate state. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. And it doesn't matter if your house burnt down to the ground. It doesn't matter if you went through a natural disaster, such as myself. It doesn't matter if you have a personal crisis where you just fell on hard times because you couldn't pull the ends together and make a meet. Fucking system down here does not give a fuck about us, and even less so than it did when I was in Chicago. It's an urban development, development industrious area. Yeah, I went through Matthew too, Mamacita. This is my second hurricane that I've lived through, and it sucks because we lost everything in Matthew, and because of that, we ran into a war with social services where my son, who is autistic, was illegally kidnapped from my care, and then we finally got him back after his sister took guardianship of him and let her baby daddy put him out on the street. So I had to do what I had to do and go get him. So now he's back with me. And we're here, as you can see, in a hotel. because we still are waiting for FEMA or social services or state level, local government to come through. That's what had happened. Insomnia now because of all of this shit again. Uh, and it's not fun. It's not funny, and there are people still struggling with nowhere to go. They on the street, literally on the fucking street. And the police are out here with us day and night because the homeless population is growing so rapidly due to these storms. So we out here. And I'm just trying to make myself sleepy, really, so that I can get some rest. I'm off tomorrow. I'm over here working, like I said, for 1/8 of what the fuck I'm worth in experience, education, and training, just to be able to feed the three of us. So that's what had happened. And I had to resort to making a crowdfunding again, and having to see if I could get contributions to help us just keep a little food and help us pay for lodging. That's all I'm trying to do, really, is work to do that. My check don't even cover a week here after working 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And it's real. I'm at 7 families here so far who are going through the exact same thing. Exact same thing. They have nothing. They run out of all their own resources. You got parents working, one in the morning, one in the evening, so that they can watch over their children because they can't afford daycare, you know, driving miles and miles and miles to find work because there's very little work here that will pay for and support an entire family, you know. And it's a lot going on, to where there are so many gray areas for people like us, black folks, who would rather attack each other versus unify and go to these legislative meetings and be heard. You feel me? So it is what it is, and it's real out here. And if you think that you're not privy to it and you can't be one of those, just let a natural disaster come through. You feel me? Let something like Katrina come through. Because I volunteered for the Red Cross for 5 years, and Katrina came through the Ninth Ward, and it's nothing like being on the other side of hurricane disaster relief. I was a first responder, you know, and I knew I had a way out. You feel me? We had choppers, boats, all kind of shit to get us to safety. And being on the other side of that, knowing how shit is supposed to be ran, knowing how shit is supposed to have been set up, pre-planned and premeditated for the hurricane, which everybody was well aware that it was on its way and it was a category 5. Everybody knew from the local level all the way up to the feds. And we didn't have shit. And they tried to starve us to death first. You know. Secondly, they began to psychologically fuck with us. Then they began to biologically fuck with us. It's really FEMA camps, and it is set up to kill off all the niggas. I watched on purpose. They had serviced all the white folks first and made sure they got their tens of thousands of dollars from FEMA, whether they owned their home or not. I was listening to people explaining how they scammed the system. You did? How they ripped off the government, you know, and they didn't really own the property. I mean, I can go on, you know. And literally, the brown and black people were the last ones standing in that fucking shelter. And nobody gave a fuck. and they were putting pressure on us to find housing, and they had nothing in place to assist with that. You feel me? So these are hardworking people who work their asses off day in and day out for whatever reason and have nothing to show for it now. Nothing. So there it be. That's where I were, Mama Sita, fighting for justice, fighting for a spot to be heard so that my family and I can regain our footing. I was talking to a mother, much like me, she has a child on the autism spectrum. And she did the same thing I did. We went to social services, we did all what we were supposed to do. And they told her, well, from what we see, you shouldn't have a problem getting back upon your feet. Looking at, your history and looking at your case, your file or whatever, we don't understand why you're here. Asking for help. Much like what we do to each other on here, on social media. You see someone who is already a low frequency slug, you know, and they might see someone else who is at a even greater disadvantage. And person A mocks and jeers at person B, who is already a codependent piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they treat black folks. And it doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. These motherfuckers don't give a fuck about us. So that's where the insomnia comes from. And that's why, I try to stay away from people. I try not to, engage in a lot of public interaction because I don't want to break somebody's face, number one. Number two, I don't want to go to prison. And number three, I got to keep it together for my family. I got to keep my resolve. I got to keep it cool, keep it funky, keep it gangster for my family. Because everybody that knows me enough knows that that's the most important thing to me is my family. So that's where I was, Mama Cedar. That's what I was doing. That's what I've been doing, And I see, little shit like the same swamp leeches slithering around, ain't shit changed. So I don't need to even take a look on the rest of the fucking the rest of the YouTube because I see that ain't shit changed. Same niggas doing the same nigga shit. It's really sad. There is no help for some folks, because they've been doing what they do so long. Just like a racist. If you raised a certain way and you've never been taught anything different, you're not open to learn anything different or change your energy at all, you're going to think that that's a healthy way to behave. And then when you're corrected on that, you feel like the other person giving you the correction is wrong versus versus correcting yourself. So here I am. That's what had happened. And like I said, we still pushing. We still fighting. We got a couple of people ready to hop on board so that we can get this shit straightened out so we can be heard, and make a big difference and get some shit shifted around and have the scales balanced out. Because in the shelter, like I said, I was a volunteer in the past, and I started to fire up my card again because I was inspired by the lack of concern and accountability for the Red Cross volunteers that were there. It was 3 shifts. They come in 3 shifts, first and third. And first shift obviously is breakfast, prep and shit like that. Second shift is monitoring, security and all of that. And then make sure if you need anything in between time, meantime. And then they have, your medical crew, stuff like that. Boom, boom, boom. Those are the more skilled ones who have training. They come and fly them in from different places, hospitals, doctors' offices, specialists that come in. So somebody mentioned something about me to one of the Red Cross workers, and they wanted me to throw on a vest. And I'm like, no, not gonna do it. I'm already fucked up. So I don't, I ain't no use to nobody right now. But I noticed that third shift crew is cleanup crew, the custodial crew, maintenance, you know, building operations management. They're supposed to keep the latrines clean, maintain the shower, stock everything. The night crew, make sure everybody got their meds administered, help out, assist wherever necessary for stuff like that. You shut down the shelter at night if it's a curfew while the storm is going, so on and so forth. So a lot of people started getting sick in that shelter because they weren't cleaning properly. They were trying to um, implant stories, lies, and stuff to say that people had a stomach virus. They lied on this one sister and said that she brought a stomach virus and some bugs into the shelter, which was not true. And they did that to all of us brown and black people in the shelter until I started to speak up, you know? And I told a lot of them, I said, this is not Red Cross. This is not the Red Cross that I know. So I started writing letters, emails, and stuff like that. And we didn't even have laundry facilities. They had to bus to different places to wash clothes. And then some other times where they took the laundry, you mark it and they take it away and bring it back after they launder it. Now, when I was in Katrina and I went down as a first responder, not only did we have our own trailers on deck, so did families of minor children, like nursing mothers, mothers who were pregnant or just gave birth. And we had a couple people that were living in the shelter give birth while they were still there and brought their babies back to the FEMA shelter. And there was zero accommodations for that. So me and a couple other people who had the experience stepped up and changed shit around, and the whole third shift crew that had been taking care of us was asked to leave the Red Cross and never to volunteer again because of the lack of compassion and input and effort. So that's what had happened. Okay. So we've been through it a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And it's catching up to me. Sometimes the older you get, the older you get, the less goddamn bullshit you can take. You know what I mean? The older you get, the less shit you can handle. And you just want to chill out and settle down, and kind of just keep it funky, keep it smooth. And the harder you work at that, it seems like the more bullshit pop up, you know? So now that I have pretty much removed the majority of the canker sores out of my cipher, and we have survived yet another hurricane. Um, We just still fighting the good fight. And I'm most grateful for my boys being reunited, um, and us being back together, because that was rough, very rough. And talk about no sleep. I think I stayed up for a whole week at one point, just no sleep at all. I did not go to sleep, did not close my eyes, could not function. I was just on autopilot right before the storm, and it came the day before my birthday, September 13th. Florence hit Jacksonville, North Carolina, and it ripped through here like a tidal wave. Just came whistling through this bitch, and it was raining sideways. That's how strong the wind was. And once we left the crib, you know, we went to the FEMA shelter. And after everything blew over toward the end of September, early October, well, yeah, end of September, um, we went back to do a FEMA inspection, went and met the inspector at the house. And half the roof was gone. And the inspector said that there was insufficient damage to my home and we could safely return to it with half a roof. Like, you could look up, we had a fucking natural skylight in that bitch. You see how the government do? Now, a white girl, similar situation, no, not never had no work history, bare minimal education, undereducated, in her mid 40s like me, with a whole slew of goddamn children, turned around and lied and said she owned the property in which she was renting, falsified some documents, turned it into FEMA, and she got close to $30,000. Now, they would lock us up underneath the goddamn jail if we did some shit like that, because we would never get caught. We would get caught quickly, I should say. See, that's the, they would lock us the fuck up quick. So, and she was bragging about it. Not only was she bragging about it, she went out and bought a new car instead of finding herself another place to live. And then she squandered away the majority of it, flooding and fronting and shit, where a needy family, somebody worse off, could have used that money effectively and probably would have done a damn good job getting it together with that few little coins that she was given. 30 G's is not really a lot of money when you think about it in the bigger picture, but it's goddamn enough to start over again and be somewhat comfortable. I feel you. They are. They always getting away with shit. They professional victims down here. And, just being in the South, because I come from a very aggressive place. Chicago is a beast. And I never realized how powerful my presence was until I came down here with these soft ass motherfuckers. Because I've gotten into a few verbal spars with some of these so-called Southern Belle bitches, and you can barely say fuck you with any force behind it before they call the police on you because you hurt their goddamn feelings. That's how their emotions drive their behavior down here in the South, or back home. Niggas going at it back and forth. Fuck you too. You know what I'm saying? The most heinous shit we say to each other and just keep it pushing. It's a new day. But down here, I'm not bullshitting. You know, one of my former roommates, I was paying 3/4 of the rent and the bills. All her shit was backed up and behind. This hoe was working one $9 an hour job, and the second job she had was $6 or $7, whatever the minimum wage, 7.50 is it now, I think. And my one job made more money in 2 weeks than her two jobs did. So, things wasn't going well, and I found out that she was sending the rent money to her boyfriend in prison. So when we approached her about it, and I got my precious cargo with me, I got my two boys with me, and you fucking up the money, which is fucking up our stability, which is fucking up the roof over our head, you know? And when she was approached by it, she bounced. Come to find out, the rent was 2 months behind. And then the bitch started turning off utilities because everything she insisted on in her name. And I was allegedly on the lease, and she altered that legal document after I signed it. Before she mailed it off, she scratched my name out. Excuse me, and lied to the landlord. So all was said and done. This bitch, Nancy Pendergrass, a white, overweight, ass backwards country bumpkin bitch who can't count and barely can read and write, put my family's life on the line to save her own ass because she is, they call that, on Love After Lockup, she a goddamn prison wife or a jailhouse wife. What they call that? Nancy Pendergrass. Look her ass up on Facebook. Nancy Pendergrass. Look her up, And since I got a fucking slug, or I had one in here, pass that along to them goddamn trolls. Let them troll that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Nancy Pendergrass, just like Teddy Pendergrass. She's a white bitch, a fat white bitch, and she can't tell the truth to save her mammy's life. I want y'all to look up Antoine Golston on Facebook. That's the second set of roommates who, like I talk about, low frequency bitch ass predators, who think just because a woman is in a vulnerable situation that makes her stupid, dumb, and slow. Like, she just gonna automatically give you an escalator up to her coochie just because you are offering something to assist her in a time of need. Fuck all y'all. That ain't changed. Fuck you. Just like the goddamn grass man that I talked about came by to do the lawn. I'm paying your black ass to cut the grass, and instead you want to sling dick. I didn't ask you for shit but to cut the fucking grass. Why do you need your genitalia stimulated to mow the fucking lawn, nigga? That's all I want to know. So little triggers give me stress. And then I have insomnia because I can't sleep. And then I think about some of the shit that I've been through. And then I start having thoughts of vengeance. Exactly. What the fuck? Yes. You can't make this shit up. I still got the text messages between he and I. And I still have the recordings of him trying to come for me after he tried to come for my roommate. Because she dragged his stray dog ass home. Because we needed a landscaper. And instead of doing business, she popping her coochie at him. So I guess he figured, oh, they roommates. Maybe I can run through both these bitches. And he hit a brick wall going 100 miles an hour fucking with me. And you know, rejection don't never sit well with low frequency niggas. Because men don't act like that. You know, he wasn't a man, he was a nigga. Much like that motherfucker that just was in here talking shit. Dusty. You know, tell this bitch is still obsessed with me. I ain't even been on here in what, damn near 2 years. And this epic Hershey chocolate asshole gonna bring his broke down, backwards, clown shoe wearing ass over here anyway. You know, just to be an irritant. So anyway, this second, or no, third set of roommates invited us to bunk with them after the storm, after the hurricane. Shelter closed. Um, Gave us, you know, a couple of months. Said, you know what, you crash out here with us till you get a couple, you know, you stack your money up a little bit. You know, this is the agreement we gonna do. So we all agreed on it. Okay, cool. So we had dude's sister and her twin toddlers, of which I was babysitting for in exchange for part of the rent. Then you had my partner, who he was paying his share, plus, you know, feeding me and taking care of little stuff for me. You know, what your nigga's supposed to do for you. So, because everybody else was booed up and this nigga wasn't, the host of the party wasn't, you know, Leviathan, the green-eyed monster jumped out, you know. And I know how niggas do. And a lot of people always want to try to give me grief about what the fuck energy I know I feel from a nigga. And I know when a nigga trying to backdoor another nigga. Okay? I know when y'all no count, no good, rusty, ashy bastards think that you are entitled to some type of clandestine, proclivitous sexual favor because you think, okay, well, she got a place to lay her head. And I know this bitch ain't got no money. So sooner or later, she gonna have to give up something else. See, y'all motherfuckers think we stupid. And then you gaslight and say, oh, well, you just think you all that. Ain't nobody think about you like that. So then why turn around and attack me for some shit that I ain't had nothing to do with? I paid my fucking rent. I took care of mine. Whether I was working or not, I still could generate some fucking money. Unlike a whole lot of these ashy motherfuckers on here that like to talk a lot of shit to black women. But laying up on one and don't have a goddamn dime to show for all the jaw jacking and dick sucking gum bumping that they do. Nothing to show for it. And I bet I made more money in 1 month than some of these ashy motherfuckers have made in a whole year just hustling. Because I like to eat and take hot showers and shit. And if I can't roommate with somebody and pay my way that way, sorry, I was cleaning and I knocked over a spray bottle. If I can't do it that way, goddamn it, I'ma hustle and make sure I keep a way to take care of myself and my brood. At that point, it was just me and my dude, though. My sons had not been, we had not joined. At that point, we had not been reunited yet. And so when we began to stack our paper up and shine like we always do, shit got real. And you can't make this shit up. I have receipts. Ain't that what y'all call it? Receipts. I have proof to prove everything I'm saying. And this bitch did the same thing. This nigga, he got mad because we approached him and confronted him on jacking off our money. And he began to play victim. Well, I don't need this drama in my life. Professional victim. So we've been through it. We've been through hell and still going through it. It's hot as fuck. Ice water don't survive here. That's how fucked up it is. So that also leads to why I have insomnia again. It has come back. So that's where I was. That's what I have been doing, is productive shit. Rebuilding my life so that I can continue to move forward with the butterfly totem, because all that shit was put on hold. Everything we owned was in a 2-car size. It's the size of a 2-car garage. All our shit was in a storage unit. And we lost everything. Baby footprints, savings bond certificates, hospital bands, baby blankets, first steps, goddamn videos, pictures, all kind of irreplaceable shit we lost. So that's where I have been. Now I got insomnia because of that shit. And the very person that took care of me like a queen is exhausted. So we're trying to pick up the slack and put our pieces back together again, one by one. And it's hard to do that when you don't have any resources or tools to do it with. Mamacita, I love you so much, but if you think about the question you just asked me, we had a hurricane, darling. During a hurricane, there's a lot of water, right? Wind and water. There's also a lot of lightning and thunder. So, if you think back to Matthew, if you think back to Katrina, if you even think back to Hugo, what happened during that hurricane? The sun wasn't shining. It wasn't snowing. The 7 dwarfs wasn't whistling while they worked. So by process of elimination, there was a flood during the hurricane. If you think about it, if you think about a hurricane and what happens during a hurricane, it rains a lot, doesn't it? So if it rains a lot and there's nowhere for the water to go, as far as drainage during a hurricane, do you think it flooded here? Or do you think I'm just making this up? I'm just asking. Nothing? You told me you went through Matthew. And if you went through Matthew, no matter where you were, Matthew touched several states. And the majority of the damages was from where? What do you think the majority of the damages was from? Fire, earthquake, or flood? Which one? A, B, or C? Lost power too. That's what happens in a hurricane. When the water reaches a certain level, guess what happens? It shorts out the power. When the wind is going 100 miles an hour plus, it blows shit off the hinges, uproot shit like whole trees. So, do I really have to answer that for you? Like, did we get a flood through the hurricane? Because I just said that. Like I said it 155,000 times. It fucked that, it washed us away. Like it was a tropical storm. It was a category 5 storm. And this is what I'm talking about. People are so disconnected, very disconnected to what, if it's not you, like if it's not the person going through it, they can't relate. Even if it's the exact same storm. Like I went through Matthew too. I was just in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I know a couple of other sisters that was in Miami. One of them was. Another one was in Texas. Another one was at the tip of Georgia, right at the state line there. And just like I lost everything, they did too. Everything. But people who have never really gone through much or had a safety net or had family or a place of refuge other than a shelter, it's hard to relate even to that. But we can go tune right in goddamn beef and arguing, steak, cooking, barbecue, whatever the fuck y'all be doing. That resonates quickly. You know what I'm saying? That's the conditioning and the social programming. We fell for the okey doke like a motherfucker. To where if my battery died and I'm back, I'm back, I'm back, I'm back. I had a really fucked up charger. So here I am. Oh God, it is so hot and sticky and muggy entering hurricane season again. And that also lends to the insomnia. And it just seems like no matter how hard I go in on this beast we call white supremacy and the government, the harder they push back against assisting any of us indigenous people. So, insomnia is a bitch. And it fucks with you in more ways than one. You get starting to second guess your own thoughts and decisions and stuff. You start looking at people sideways more so than what you would if you were in a more balanced mind state, and just you start to hallucinate. You think you hear shit that you really don't hear people say. You start to take offense to all kind of other shit that you normally wouldn't take offense to. It's a lot that goes along with having insomnia. So, as you can see, I am tired in the mud. I'm tired. I can't sleep. I'm yawning every 5 minutes because my body is ready to shut down and I can't sleep. And I just get pissed off all over again when I lay down, go to sleep for an hour, and jump right back up again. It's frustrating. So, but the most important thing in the world I have back now with me, my oldest son, who was kidnapped by social services for absolutely no reason. And I mentioned this happened right after Matthew. So for almost 3 years now, 2.5, I have been fighting the system, fighting for justice, fighting for equal human rights, making waves in a hick town 5 hours southwest of here called Cleveland County. Grover has a couple of sister cities, Shelby and Kings Mountain. It's right on the border of North and South Carolina, right like 5 minutes before you cross the state line over into South Carolina. So I have lawyer bills up to here. I have past due utility bills up to here because, in the storm, you can't pay bills because you don't have no fucking power. And when they restore that shit, if you're not home, you gotta cut that shit off. So it's levels to this shit, and it's grown adult shit. This ain't no joke, you know. And a lot of people can't survive without depending on something or someone else, you know. Short of the FEMA shelter, I've been doing this just me and my partner. We've been getting down all this time with no help at all. So it is what it is. And that's what had happened to me and mine. So, insomnia. Here I am again. But again, I'm going to count every blessing. Every day is a gift because I'm still here. We didn't get totally annihilated. We got beat up real good, some battle scars along the way, dealing with all these emotional issues and psychological tricks that, it plays on your mind when you go through traumatic stuff like that. But we're all alive and well and for the most part healthy. So this is just another vent. You know how I do. Oh, excuse me. I'll come and rant a little bit and release and keep it pushing. And just like clockwork, just like I expected, I knew because I had already streamed one public stream uh, a couple of days ago. Because I'm not stupid. You can pull up the map and see where your views are coming from. And I know as soon as I publish something, the same old trolls from what, 2012? That's goddamn 7 years. 7 motherfucking years doing the same shit over and over and over again, expecting different results. So again, here we are.